Hey everyone, it is August 10th, 2012, and this video is going to be for the fall outlook for our entire country. And let's start over in the West today. The West is pretty much where all the action is going to be in terms of the weather for the fall months, September, October, November, and going into December pretty much. So the main thing that's going to be happening over the West is we are going to have a bit cooler than normal conditions coming through, and we also are going to see a much wetter pattern coming in. Right now, we are high and dry pretty much in the West. Seattle and Portland have been in like the 70s and 80s, and it's actually been sunny and dry pretty much all across the West. And that pattern is going to change once we get into late August, early September, and then following through the rest of the fall months. The Pacific Northwest, especially into Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana, we are going to have an early wet season, so pretty much we are going to have the bulk of the rain happen in the months of September and October. Down to the southwest, the Four Corners region, that's where we are going to have a bit mid to later wet season, so October through early December is when we're supposed to get the majority of our wet weather here in the desert southwest. And then also in the higher, but northern Rockies, we are supposed to get chillier weather coming through. So pretty much any cold air that finally does make its way into the lower 48 is going to make its way known into the northern Rockies, into Montana and Wyoming. So ski resorts out there, that will be a good sign for them coming into the later fall months, getting into November and early December. That will be a good thing for some of the ski resorts out there as well. Moving a little bit further into the Midwest, where we've seen just relentless heat and drought conditions throughout like forever. Unfortunately, for the next few months, not a whole lot is going to change. We are still going to see dry conditions and pretty much warm conditions pretty much hang on for the fall months and stuff. We could get a couple shots of cooler air, especially going into October and November, obviously. But for the start of the fall into September, really not a whole lot changing in terms of pretty much getting any like significantly colder. It looks like a lot of the warmth is going to hang on, mainly into the south central plains, but also again into the upper Midwest. Don't expect to see like snow in October and November this year. A lot of the models are saying that it is going to pretty much stay relatively warm. Once you get down to like pretty much the Gulf states, we are going to have a wetter fall. So finally, we are going to have some drought relief, hopefully coming into Texas and over into the south and southeast into Florida as well. Rain is on tap for those places down there more likely this fall. Going over into the Ohio and Mississippi river valleys, it is going to stay mild and dry, unfortunately, so not a whole lot changing. We've had quite a few systems of showers and heavier thunderstorms move across this region over the past week or so, and it's supposed to continue for another couple days, but after that, things seem to be drying out and stuff, and unfortunately, a lot of the drought has grown in these areas, and that's not going to be a good thing when the next few months come around and we don't see that much rainfall, and especially when it's going to stay mild as well. So, alright, going over into the East Coast, we are going to have wetter than normal conditions over into the Southeast, into the Virginias, and then we are going to have a milder fall this year into the Northeast and New England. So last year, if you remember, we had that historic October snowfall in a lot of the places in the Northeast. That's not going to happen this year. We are expecting a lot milder conditions hanging on through most of the fall months. So, snow is not really going to be a big thing pretty much at all until you really get into November and even December. We probably won't see any snow until probably December in most places, unfortunately. So, it looks like that summer is hanging around for the majority of the country. Really, the only cold air that's going to be coming in is going to be, again, in the northern Rockies for the fall months, and again, that's September, October, November, and early December, obviously, pretty much, when fall begins, September 22nd, and ends on December 21st. So, that time slot, that's what the whole entire like forecast is for and stuff. So again, it looks like that summer's going to be hanging on. I know that a lot of people have been like, oh my gosh, it's so hot. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of relief. It's not going to be like 100+ degrees, you know, going into September, October, November. It's just not going to have a big cold shot of air coming in really anytime soon. We'll get some cooler shots, just not big usual cold shots and all that stuff, unfortunately. So that's what it looks like for the fall outlook for the whole entire country. Again, wetter conditions over in the west, colder in the northern Rockies, staying mild into the Midwest, Ohio River Valley, and going over to the northeast. And again, we could see wetter conditions across the southeast, Gulf states, and the southern plains. That is your fall outlook 2012, and I'll be back with another video. And until then, remember to keep your eye to the sky.